Welcome back everyone, I hope you're doing well and that you're ready for another update. Today I got something special for you. I posted a poll shortly after the last episode where I asked what you wanted to see in this episode. And a majority of you wanted to see objects that could be destroyed and drop items. So that is what we're gonna do today. Objects and items that drops. And as a reminder, all of the code and assets can be found on my website or on GitHub. If you have questions about this tutorial, or maybe you get stuck somewhere, check out the Discord link. And if you want to go the extra mile to show your support, there's a link below where you can buy me a coffee. Even though I don't drink coffee, I'm a tea guy. There won't be any recap about the last episode. We didn't really add anything new, we just cleaned up our code a bit. So, let's get started. Before we can start coding, we need the images that we're gonna use today. So for the objects, we have barrels and boxes, and also the potions. The blue, the red, and as you can see here, the boxes and the barrels can be destroyed. So what we're gonna do is just grab those two images and drop them in our rest folder. And every time we add new images, we need to go to our load and save and add those two strings. And we can call this one Potion Atlas. And it was called Potion Sprites. Potions Sprites. Yeah. And the second one we're gonna call Container Atlas. And it was called Objects Sprites. Like so. Alright, then we can just close load and save and continue. Next up, we are going to create the superclass that both the potion and the containers are going to use. So in our source folder, we create a new package for our objects. We can call it objects. And in here we're gonna have a few classes, but first let's create the superclass, as I mentioned. And we're just gonna call it GameObject. We could call it object, but there's a lot of other classes inside Java, the normal Java, that is called object. So just to make sure that we don't confuse our object with any other object, we're gonna call it GameObject. And this GameObject will have a few variables at the top, and we're gonna make them protected right away. Int x and y, we will have a protected rectangle 2D dot float hitbox. We're also going to have a object type, just like enemy type, etc. So we have a object type. Then we need a protected boolean do animation. Our potions are going to be animated constantly, but our barrels and boxes is only gonna get animated when they are getting destroyed. So if we have a boolean that can say yes or no, or true or false, we will then just animate what we need to be animated. And we also need a active. If we pick it up or we destroy it, it's not gonna be active anymore. So we might as well set that to true right away. Then we need a protected int animation tick, just like we have done before. Animation index, and what else? Yeah, we need a protected int x draw offset and a y draw offset. And I don't think we need any more variables at the top here. And this superclass will of course have a constructor, so public game object. And we're going to need a int x, int y, and of course int object type. And this dot x equals x, this dot y equals y, and this dot object type equals object type. And that's all for our constructor. Everything else we're gonna set when we need it. So for example, our hitbox, maybe we can be as cheeky as to steal the method, copy paste. Let's copy this and see if we need to change it from entity. So we're just gonna paste that init hitbox. Let's see if yeah, we don't need to change that up. And what else do we need? Well, we're gonna steal something again, the draw hitbox as well. So right underneath here we say Draw hitbox. Yeah, that looks alright. But it's not going to be a protected, it's going to be a public. I think we need it to be public. We'll see. Yeah, of course. We need update animation tick. I don't think we have it in the entity class. I think we have it in the enemy class, maybe. We can steal this. We need to change it up. So we're going to steal the update animation tick and paste it in here. But let's keep it up here. It's a little bit more important than those. So animation tick, animation speed, that's alright. This one we need to change up, and we're gonna say object type. Of course we need to create this method in the constant class, but we're gonna get to that soon. And then we can just remove that, I think. We're gonna get to this method soon in our constant class, but let's see if we can finish up this class before we go there. What else? We're gonna need some way of resetting this class. So public void reset. So when we reset the level, we also want to reset this game object. And we're just gonna say animation index equals 0, any tick equals 0. What else? What else do we have? Do animation and active equals true. We're gonna need a if statement here. If it's barrels or boxes, we're gonna need to set do animation to false, otherwise true. So let's just say do animation equals true. For now, we don't have those animation. We don't have those objects in our constant class yet. But I think that is good enough. Let's go to the bottom here. Right click. Source, generate getters and setters, and getters for object type, hitbox, do animation, no, animation tick, active, yes. So active, hitbox, objecting type, X draw offset, and Y draw offset. So just generate those. But we don't need a setter for draw offset, nor set offset. We don't need a setter for active. We don't need a setter for the hitbox. Set object type. Oh, we do need a getter for public int get animation index. We need to return the current index when we draw it, because we're not going to draw it in the game object. So get animation index, just like our enemies, I think. My bad, we do need a setter public void set active. We're gonna need a setter for our active because when it's getting destroyed, we don't deactivate it inside our game object. We call from our object manager that we're gonna add later to tell this class to be inactive. So boolean active, this dot active equals active, like so. Now I think we have everything, right? Just add a to do, add if here, just something to remind us that we need to add a if barrel, if box, if potion, etc. But I think this is good enough. Let's head over to our constant class and add what we need to add there. And inside our constant class, where we have everything, let's keep the game objects constants in the top here. And we have added constants many times. There's nothing new here. So I'm just gonna copy paste what I already have, and we're gonna go over it real quickly. So you can just pause the video and write it down yourself. But let's go over it. So we have a new class, object constants. We create 4 new types of objects: red potion, blue potion, barrel, and a box. We give some value to the red potion as well as the blue potion. The red potion will be for health, and the blue potion will be for the power bar at the top left corner. We're not going to get into using powers in this episode. We're just going to add one of those placeholders for now. So when we pick up a blue potion, it's going to say, I picked up a blue potion. And then later, when we add the functionality of our blue potion, we just replace that printout with the actual function. So we're still going to have it in the game, but it's not going to do anything. We're going to be able to pick it up and we're going to have a printout, but that's it. And then we have the get sprite amount, and our objects have 7 for the potion and 8 for the barrels and the boxes. So nothing new here, we've done this many times before, but instead of me having to type this all out, just copy paste and we're good to go. So back to our game object, and let's finish this class. And we have a get sprite amount, doesn't know what it is, but at the top we are importing enemy constants, which is completely wrong. So let's just remove it like so, and then we say constants dot object constants, and let's grab all of them. And now that error should disappear, and it did. Perfect. But in our update animation tick, when we are animating the box and the barrel, that only happens when we destroyed it. So they are being destroyed, and when they are done animating, meaning the last frame or the last sprite, we don't want to keep animating. Like, we destroyed it, now stop. So at the bottom here we add a if object type is equal to barrel, or object type is equal to box. If that's the case, then we add 2 brackets here, do animation equals false, and then a active equals false. We don't want to draw them after they've been destroyed completely. And we might as well copy this if here and go to our reset where we had a to do. And if it's a barrel and a box, then we say do animation equals false, else we do set it to true. So if we reset it and it's a barrel and box, we don't want to animate from the beginning, but if it's a potion, we do want to animate it from the start. And I think that is all actually for our GameObject class. We might have to come in here again, but I think we're done for now in here. Now let's create our first object, the potion. So new class in our objects package, we're gonna call it potion. Red potion, blue potion, they will have the same class but a different object type integer. So this class will then extend GameObject, and we're gonna get an error right away. Add a constructor like so. We're gonna set do animation to true right away, because in our GameObject do animation is false by default, so we need to set it true because this is a potion, it will always animate as long as it's active. Then we need to init hitbox, and it's gonna be 7 and 14. It's not gonna be exact, it's gonna be somewhat close because our blue potion and our red potion are not identical. Our red potion is a bit thicker than the blue one. So, but it's good enough. So yeah. And then we need some draw offset. So x draw offset is equal to cast over to int, so we don't get any weird looking bugs. 3 times game.scale, and then y draw offset is equal to 2 times game.scale. It's not a big number, but that's what we need. And these two numbers are coming from the sprites where we have 3 pixels to the left and 2 pixels to the top of the sprite atlas. And then we could actually add a hover effect, but we can do that later. Let's get it going and then we can tweak and add the fun stuff. And then we need a public void update. And it's going to be a very simple update, and it's going to update animation tick, just like that. And now we are complete with our potion class for now. When we're gonna add, we can add a hover effect later, but right now let's just see if we can get it to be displayed in the game. And right after this potion, we're gonna add the GameContainer. So new class GameContainer, and it's the box or the barrel. So extends GameObject, And we get an error, add constructor, yes, like so. And when it comes to the hitbox for our barrel and our box, they are quite different. So we're just gonna create a hitbox method here. And then inside this method is where we actually create the hitbox, because we're gonna have two different sizes of hitboxes depending on what type of object we have. So first, if object type is equal to box, we do one way, else we do another way. But it doesn't recognize box, so we need to import static utils.constants.object constants, and we're gonna take them all. And if it's a box, we say init hitbox, and it's going to be 2518. And we can actually set the draw offset in here as well, because it's going to be different if it's a box and if it's a barrel. So our x draw offset is equal to, recast over to int, 7 times game.scale. Y draw offset is equal to int, 12 times game.scale. But if it's the barrel, we say init hitbox, and it's going to be 23 by 25. And we can copy this actually, and it shall be 8 and 5. And this class will also need a public void update. And here we need to check if do animation, then we do update animation tick, because we don't always want to update our animation when we come to boxes and barrels. And I think that's all for our game container. We will need to get back in here soon, because we want the box and the barrel to be on the floor and not in the air. So we might need to move our hitbox a little bit, but we're gonna deal with that when we draw it the first time and then adjust accordingly. So yeah, our game container and potion class are now complete. Just like we have a enemy manager for enemies and a level manager for levels, we will have a object manager for our objects. So in our objects package, we add a new class, object manager. And we are going to make a constructor, so public object manager. This one will take in the playing class. Playing, and private, playing. This.playing equals playing. And we need to import that, yes. And we will store the images in our object manager. So private buffered image 2D array, because we got two different in each. And we're gonna call it potion images. And then we have one for container images. And we need to import buffered image. And we need to store our potions and our game containers in a array list. So private array list potion, and we're gonna call it potions. And we can copy this line, import it first, and we're gonna have one for game container, and we're gonna call it containers. Like so. And in our constructor, we of course need to load our images first. We can't draw them and show them unless they are in the buffered image array. So first, we're going to start with our potions. So buffered image potion sprites equals load save dot get sprite atlas load save dot potion atlas. And our potion images need to be initialized first here. So new buffered image is going to be 2 and 7. And then of course we need a for loop here, equals 0, j is less than potion images dot length j plus plus for int I equals 0, I is less than potion images and j times length I plus plus. So potion images, not 3 but 2, ji is equal to potion sprite dot get subimage 12 times I, 16 times j, and then of course 12 and 16. And with that one being made, we can copy this and do the exact same thing for our container array. So instead of potion sprite, container sprite, not potion atlas, but container atlas, potion images, no, we're gonna container images equals 2 and 8. Potion images, no, container images, and container sprite. And instead of 12, we're gonna go 40 and 30. 40 and 30. So now we have all our images in our container images array. And let's see, what else will we need? Well, we will need a public void update. We will need a public void draw graphics G, and we can import the graphics class. And in our update, we are going to loop through each. So for the potions first, so potion p, potions, if p dot is active, p dot update. And then for our container, so for game container, gc, containers, right? Containers. If gc dot is active, gc dot update. So we update them only if it's active or if they are active. And for our draw, let's go draw potions. G, and of course we need the offset here, so int level x, or rather x level offset, because we need to care about that as well. And then draw containers g x level offset. So let's create our potion and our container method. Let's just copy this line right there. For our containers, if they are active, and if gc get object type is equal to box, then we draw one type of sprite, otherwise we draw another else. But they don't recognize that box, so import static utils dot constants dot object constants, and let's grab all of them. So if it's a box, we say g.draw image. And let's see, we need the container images. And let's see if that if it was box, that was 0, yes. So 0, and then gc.get animation index. Then we have x, y, width, and height. I'm just separating to see, it's a little bit easier to see it this way. So for x, we go gc.get hitbox.x minus gc.get extra offset minus x level offset. So here we have the offset for the specific object, and here we have the x level offset. But they are in float, so we need to recast them to integers, like so. And we need to do the same for our y here. So gc.get hitbox.y minus gc.get Y draw offset. And for width, we are going to go box, do we have it? Container width and container height and null. So that's what we're going to do for that one. And then if it's a barrel, we just change that to a 1. But this is pretty much exactly the same call. So instead of doing 2 different calls to the draw image, we are going to do just one of them at the bottom here. But we are going to add a little int type equals 0. If it's a box, or rather if it's a barrel, then we say, we can remove all of that actually. Then we say type is equal to 1. And then we just pass type in there. So we only have one draw image call. Something like that. And when we format, it looks much cleaner. And then we're going to do the same for our potions. So let's grab this and add some brackets there. If it's active, then we're going to draw it. Int type here as well equals 0. And which one was 0? 0 was the blue one. So if p.get object type is equal to red potion, then type equals 1. But we can probably copy this so we don't have to type it all out. And then we just add some breaks so we can see what we're doing, like so. Container images, no, but potion images. Type and then p.get index, p.get hitbox, p. Container width, no, but potion width and potion height. And I think that is all we need to do for our potions as well. Let's just make sure that we didn't forget hitbox, draw offset. Yeah, that looks good. And before we start using the level images to actually get potions and containers, let's just create 2, one of each here. So potions.add new potion, 100 or rather 300, 300 and 0. I think it is 0. Let's see which one is the red and which one is the blue. So 1, 2, okay. So 0, we have a new potion, a red one. We add another one, but maybe at 400, and that's going to be a blue. And for our containers, dot add new GameContainer, 500, 300, and we're going to set, oh, that's correct. We can use the name instead. So red barrel, red potion, blue potion, and of course a box as well. But another X value, so 600. I think that's good. Now we have 2 potions of each, or 1 potion of each, and 1 container of each. And to be able to draw this, we need to go to our playing class, and at the top here, where we have the other managers, level, enemy, we can add it right underneath here. So private, object, manager, and then we go to init classes, overlay, manager, equals new object manager, this. And let's just add the getter, otherwise we're going to forget it later. So at the bottom, public object manager, get object manager, return object manager, something like that. Now we don't have to worry about key pressed or any of that. We just need to add them to our draw and update. So let's begin with update. So let's add it right before the player. So object manager dot update. And for draw, if pause game over else enemy manager player, let's add our objects in front of everything. So object manager dot draw g, not max level offset, x level offset. And I think if we start the game now, we should see a couple of objects. Fingers crossed. And we got an error right away. Beautiful. What's that for? Object manager. Oh, we never initialize our arrays. That makes sense. So potions equals new array list. And our container is equal to new array list. Think this is going to go much better. We're not going to add our potions like here or containers here. They're going to be added when we call level get potions. But we haven't gotten this far. But this will be removed. So this is just temporary to test if it works. It started. Beautiful. So we have our red, blue, our barrel, and our box. And the players behind them. Yeah. Beautiful. That's some good progress right there. Alright, a good day of work. This episode will be split into 2 parts. I've got to the next part ready, just need some finishing touches and it's ready to be uploaded. So, expect one more video tomorrow already. In the next part, we will work on getting the objects from our level files, just like we do with the enemies. Until then, take care now and have a wonderful day. Bye.